The next concept in breathing and exchange of gases is regulation of respiration. So the regulation of respiration is moderately controlled by neural activity. So there we have a specific centers in the brain where these regulation of respiration take place. They are called respiratory center. The very first one is called respiratory rhythm center, pneumotaxic center, chemosensitive area. So what is the necessary of this regulation of respiration? As we breathe in and due to more vigorous exercises or any of our cellular activities, the carbon dioxide concentration increases. This increased carbon dioxide in the blood is not good. It is toxic as it increases the H plus ion concentration, increases the temperature. The carbon dioxide must be thrown out of our body through exhalation. So as a result, the regulation of respiration is necessary. Next, regulation of respiration, very first rhythmic center, respiratory rhythm center, which is also called inspiratory and expiratory center. So what it does is, it is seen in the medulla oblongata and regulates the respiratory rhythm. It increases the number of exhalation or expiration. Why? Because of increased concentration of H plus ions will be sensed by this region and it regulates so that more and more carbon dioxide can be breathed out. The next center is pneumotaxic center, present in the pons varoli, moderates the function of respiratory rhythm center. So here it reduces the duration of inspiration. As a result, expiration will be having a longer span. As a result, more carbon dioxide will be breathed out. So that is with the pneumotaxic center. One more importance of pneumotaxic center is that it will avoid the bursting of lungs. Okay, lung is present in an airtight chamber, and when filled in with the air, when we are forcefully inspiring, so during that time pneumotaxic center is the one which also controls or prevents the bursting of lungs. So that is also, that's why it is also called pneumotaxic center. Then the last one is chemosensitive area. As I told, increase in carbon dioxide concentration increases H plus ion and increases the temperature. Increase in this H plus ion is sensed by the chemosensitive area which is present adjacent to the rhythm center. So what it does is, it in turn signals the rhythmic center so that it can alter the respiratory rate. So we also have receptors present in the aortic arch and carotid artery, which brings in the necessary signal, which sends the necessary signal to the rhythmic center, and they also sense the increase in carbon dioxide concentration and H plus ion. So in all the three centers we are able to see the involvement of carbon dioxide concentration and no oxygen is involved. So we say that oxygen is insignificant in regulation of respiratory rhythm. Okay, that is one thing. Next one is disorders of respiratory system. So disorders, any diseases related to respiratory system, we are studying in this concept at the end of this chapter. So what the common disorders are also there, like for asthma, emphysema, occupational respiratory disorder, pneumonia. For example, pneumonia is caused by Haemophilus influenzae, which is infecting the lungs, and it is filled with the fluid filled. So in this chapter we have asthma, emphysema and occupational respiratory disorder. So what is asthma? It is the difficulty in breathing causing wheezing due to inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles. What actually happens is, the infection leads to tightening of the smooth muscles of bronchi and bronchiole. As a result, the person will suffer from shortness of breath. So that is in case of asthma. And next one is emphysema, which is major cause for this emphysema is cigarette smoking. The nicotine present in the cigars will damage the walls of the alveoli, thereby there will be no respiratory surface. So it decreases the surface area for exchange of gases. As a result, emphysema is caused. So then the last one is occupational respiratory disorder. So this is seen observed in the people who are long-term exposure to dust particles, smoke, chemicals in the chemical industry. So what actually happens is day by day their body immunes, the lungs or respiratory structures are exposed to these chemicals, dust and smoke. So as a result, what happens? Their immune system will not be able to cope with these changes, external change. As a result, the lungs starts deteriorating and are damaged, and there will be no respiratory surfaces. So which are those? We will see. So certain industries produce so much dust, so defense system of the body cannot cope with the situation. So longer exposure causes inflammation of the lungs. As a result, we see proliferation of the fibrous tissue. So it results in lung damage, and workers in these industries can wear the mask or shield to avoid the exposure to the dust. So that ends with the respiratory system, and we also see silicosis and asbestosis. Depending on the agent which is causing the occupational disorder, we have silicosis and we have asbestosis. Silicosis is usually seen in the people who work in mining activity, asbestosis in the chemical industries. That's all for this chapter. Thank you all.